go ahead and get into these predictions, Thomas.
All right.
Let's we only got 4 games to talk about now because teams have been eliminated from the playoffs, and now we're getting
Mhm.
into the divisional round. Just as a recap, me and Thomas both tied on the divisional round. Um, we both went 4-2, so we generally did pretty well in our predictions, but we got 2 games wrong. So let's start, I guess, with the game that we both got wrong, which was the Los Angeles Rams taking down the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I was very surprised to see Jared Goff come into this game. I didn't think that he had any chance of coming in at all. He came in for a relatively struggling John Wolford, and I think
Mhm.
had that not happened, the Seahawks probably would have finished off this game and ended up winning. It wouldn't have been nearly as impressive as I thought it was going to be, but they still probably would have won if John Wolford had stayed in the game. But Jared Goff came in, and he wasn't perfect, but he didn't turn the ball over, and he got him a touchdown, which was pretty important, obviously. So um,
Yeah.
yeah, that was part of what I had kind of based my prediction off of. I thought Jared Goff was just not playing at all, and that's why I picked the Seahawks. I think had I known Jared Goff was going to go in, I probably still would have picked the Seahawks. I still don't. I don't think I would have thought the Rams were going to win by playing 2 different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But my like I said, my prediction was based off of Jared Goff not playing at all.
I'm with you. I did not expect the Rams to win this game at all. I thought Russell Wilson would would find some way to win this game. He didn't. It was just that offense. I was waiting for that offense for Seattle to explode. It never did. There's a lot of holes on that team. Talk about a team that's fallen from grace.
Right.
But man, like you got to give it to the coach. You got to give it to the coach of Los Angeles. They're doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing a great job. Just like mixing in different quarterbacks. Apparently, it's just like I am just astounded by the fact that Los Angeles won that game. I am amazed that Los Angeles won that game. Playoffs in the NFL, baby.
Right.
Man,
So
I'm still trying to
I
reason that in
am.
my head.
I will say, I think Sean McVay might be without a doubt the best coach in that division. Pete Carroll's pretty
Yeah.
damn good, but I think this was an example of Sean McVay just simply out coaching Pete Carroll. And so I think it's the biggest problem they have in Los Angeles. I think is a general lack of talent. They have
Yeah.
talent, but it's really they don't have a lot of talent, and the talent they do have is spread pretty thin. So you got Cooper Cup, you got Robert Woods, you got Aaron Donald, but you got Jalen Ramsey, you got some pretty
Yeah.
big players, but at the same time your quarterback's Jared Goff, your top running back is Cam Akers, and Cam Akers is fine, but he's fine, he's nothing to really get that excited about. Um, yeah, just looking at this Rams roster, it's just like the guys who did play. Johnny Hecker, their punter, is one of the best players on the team. So the fact that Sean McVay is getting this kind of production out of this team, they beat the Seahawks. He took a team that lost to the Jets and beat the Seahawks in the playoffs. And man, Sean McVay, like bravo.
Yeah. Yeah. Freaking
So
good job, dude.
the so that was the only game that we both got wrong. So we got to talk about the games that we disagreed on.
Okay.
Now, I thought the Tennessee Titans were going to, uh, show up against the Baltimore Ravens, and I thought it was going to be Derrick Henry pooping all over the Ravens like he just is wanting to do so often. Maybe it's because Earl Thomas isn't on the team anymore. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. But Derrick Henry only got 40 yards on 18 carries. He had 2.2 yards per carry. He was bad. He was very, very bad. And Ryan Tannehill threw an interception and had a touchdown, so he kind of he kind of invalidated himself, and but basically the Titans just had nothing going on in this game. Like, I mean, like the Ravens didn't do that great. Like Lamar Jackson had a really good touchdown run that's going to make all the highlight reels, but as a passer, he didn't throw a touchdown. He threw an interception. He got sacked 4 times, 5 times actually. He had a quarterback rating of 74.8. So, I mean, he did not do that great. But the Ravens just grinded out a game against a Titans team that just forgot to show up. That's what happened. And it does not give me, it does not personally give me much faith in the Ravens going forward. Like, they got the Bills coming up this week, and that's going to be interesting. Um,
Mhm.
But yeah, that's why I thought the Titans were going to be able to show up. I thought, like I said, Derrick Henry was going to show up and do something because he's been on a tear lately. That didn't happen.
But
So, I was wrong.
I just think it's funny. I just think it's funny that they freaking dance on that dude's logo, or they dance on the Titans logo, man. I think
I
that's
think it's
so
funny
funny,
that they
man.
danced on their logo, and they overall really didn't. The only person who really had a great game, even though it wasn't a great
So
game, it was a
disrespectful.
pretty good game. The only person who had a really decent game, like a pretty good game, was Marquise Brown. He's like the
Yeah,
only one who really he had 109 yards pass receiving. He didn't get a touchdown, but he got 109 yards. Um, the
yeah.
Titans did get 5 sacks. Harold Landry had 2 sacks. Daquan Jones had one. Matt Dickerson had one. Brooks Reed had one. So it's like really, there's more guys I think on Tennessee who had a good game as opposed to the Ravens. Nobody really had a great game for the Ravens. They ground out a really hard, tough fought win, and they made it work. So I don't know. Like I said, it doesn't give me any faith for them going forward. It just tells me that Tennessee is just as mediocre of a team as they always been.
They literally came off the bench to dance on their logo. There are literally players who came off the bench so they could hop on the logo. Like, hey man, let's go fuck up their logo, man. Come on, let's go over here. Come on, y'all. Come on.
You know what? If you're gonna do that though, at least back it up.
At least the whole team did it, man. Their whole team did that, man. Like that.
Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. But I'm taking a shot at Juju Smith-Schuster right now.
Just the
Like, if you're gonna
disrespect,
do that, you
man.
better back it up.
Just the disrespect, though. The disrespect was real, though.
Yeah,
Man, how disrespectful though. Like that's just the ultimate disrespect.
it's hilarious though.
Man. Oh, they're gonna come back. It's gonna come back and bite them. It's gonna happen. But it is funny.
Yep.
It is funny though. It is funny as hell. Anyway,
All right.
yeah, Lamar Jackson, you did what you need to do. You played like Lamar Jackson, like they said on ESPN, I guess. Lamar played like Lamar, you did your job.
No, yeah, actually, I take that back. He did play like Lamar Jackson. He definitely played like Lamar Jackson. He had 136 yards rushing and kind of sucked as a passer.
Yeah,
He played exactly like Lamar Jackson.
yeah, I think that I don't know why I'm leaning on the camera like that. That was kind of creepy. Like I like this. No, but I'm just ecstatic about I really want to see the Ravens beat the Bills because I really want to play the Ravens in the AFC Championship game.
Right.
And I know it's far fetched for us to beat the Chiefs, but it's far fetched for us to be here. And I know the Browns really want a third shot at the Ravens. I know for a fact they want a third shot at the Ravens. I just know it. I can feel it. Yeah, I'm never going to forget at the end of the game when the two coaches came at each other when Kevin Stancy and Harbaugh came to each other and they said Kevin Stancy looked at Harbaugh. I'm sorry, and Harbaugh said, "I'll see you in the playoffs." And he said, "We gotta get there first. Like I see you in the playoffs. I'll be right there for you." I really want to see those teams play in the playoffs. They had the best game of the year I think if they played an AFC Championship game, there's just something about Baker Mayfield versus Lamar Jackson. There's just something about those two. There's something that they love going at each other, and they watch each other. Keep this in mind: Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield both watch each other hold the Heisman Award in front of each other's faces. Like, keep that in mind. Like, they each one of them got to watch each other hold the Heisman up in front of each other's faces. So there's that, like, it's almost like Magic and Bird. Like, it's very similar to like a Magic Bird rivalry. I don't know. That's all I got to say about that game.
Right.
Good job, Ravens. Y'all did your thing. Go Browns.
Fair enough. Last game that we need to talk about is the game that you got wrong, which was the Indianapolis Colts and the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, Colts. Oh, the Colts. You know why I picked the Colts on the low?
I don't.
Because part of me didn't want to play the Chiefs. I did the math. I was like, oh, the only way we go with the Chiefs is the Colts win. So come on, Colts, beat the Chiefs. You still for the predictions. Y'all heard for the predictions episode. I thought the Browns play the Ravens again. I want the Browns to play the Ravens again, so the Browns get make it to that championship game. But I guess I'd rather if we had to face the Chiefs, I'd rather face the Chiefs in the divisional round where they're coming off cold than in the conference finals, personally. So,
well, what you had here is you had a Colts team that basically they had Philip Rivers throw the ball 46 times, right? So their strategy was basically, let's see if Philip Rivers can go win us a playoff game. That was basically what they wanted to do. I mean, they had 30 rushes, but even with as great as Jonathan Taylor has been this year, they didn't have a rusher over 100 yards. Philip Rivers got 2 touchdowns, didn't throw any interceptions, which is remarkable for him. But he didn't really I don't know. He didn't really do anything inspiring. Like, he played well against middle of the road Bills defense, but I don't know, he couldn't get it done for them when it mattered. Like, I mean, he did, but he didn't. Especially at the very end of the game. You got a potential game-winning drive at the end of it. You got 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and I mean, he's driving them down the field, but he's not driving them down the field fast enough, and they just basically just end up running out of time because they just he's throwing the ball down the field, but they're not stopping the clock enough, and they at the end of the last 3 plays of the game are all Philip Rivers incomplete passes. So I have always wondered, and we talked about this with Zach when Zach came on the show. Me and him talked about it, and I have never understood why Philip Rivers is considered to be this surefire Hall of Famer. Like, I mean, he's got some pretty good stats. He's definitely a very good quarterback, but a Hall of Famer? Like, what has he done?
That game was there for Philip Rivers to win.
Yeah, that game was right there for Philip Rivers to run.
They had a lot of opportunities to win that game.
Right, and the Colts' whole strategy for the game seemed to be, which is insane, because you got Jonathan Taylor, who's been this amazing.
He missed some passes, man. He missed some passes.
Yeah, he didn't miss all of his passes, but he missed the really key ones, and that's what's really defined Philip Rivers' career, is the fact that he's got some pretty good stats when it doesn't matter, but when it does matter, he hasn't gotten it done really ever. People talk about, oh, he's the greatest quarterback to never make it to the Super Bowl, but it's just like, part of the reason they didn't make it to the Super Bowl was because of him. I mean, not always. Sometimes it was various things, but a lot of the reason Philip Rivers has never made a Super Bowl is because of Philip Rivers.
It just didn't seem like the Colts. It didn't seem like the Colts were motivated. I mean, I don't know. It did not seem they were motivated.
Phillip Rivers
if
had
you
the
wa-
best game of any of them. So, I mean, yeah, I kind of agree with that. It kind of seemed
it
like
just
Phillip Rivers was the only
they just
one
kept
who
on
was
making
really
stupid mistakes. Like you see all like the penalty, the stupid penalties that they were getting, the
yeah.
offsides, the um just like the mental errors that they were making. And you look at the team, you look at the game like the Browns game, how the Browns came out fired up, or how the Ravens came out fired up, or how even the Titans came out fired up. They went down swinging. They lost, but they still went down swinging. The coaches did not, they just did not seem like they were interested at all. Even the Bears seemed more interested in their game than the Colts did, and the Bears just got their butts kicked. They just got their butts kicked because talent. Like when you lose a game, the most frustrating thing to watch as a fan is to watch a game that you lost because you make mental errors. Like that's the most frustrating way to lose a game is because you lost because you made too many mental errors. Like if the Colts made less mental errors, they would have won that game. And to watch your team lose because of mental errors is the worst way to lose.
Right.
Yeah. So
Agreed.
feel,
Agreed.
feel
That's
bad for y'all.
it's got to be wholly frustrating. What I'll say though is I didn't at any point think that the Colts are really the fact that the Colts got as close to beating the Bills as they did. I think is pretty impressive. They held Josh Allen down enough to give themselves a chance, but at the end of the day, they made the mistake, I think, of relying on Philip Rivers to go win this game for them. And that's just not who Philip Rivers is. Philip Rivers is the kind of guy who can be great and give you a chance to win a game, but you got to go. He's going to give you a chance. He's not going to do it for you. Um,
Yeah.
and they relied on him to win the game at the end, and it just didn't work out. So
Yeah.
that to me is the story of Philip Rivers' career. Is just not being the kind of quarterback who is really going to get it done when it matters.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's probably all we got for this episode of predictions. Obviously, a very reduced episode because we don't really have a whole lot to talk about. Next week in the divisional game, you get in the divisional round next week. You got the Ravens going up against the Bills in Buffalo. You got the Browns going up against the Chiefs in Kansas City. You got the Buccaneers going up against the Saints for the third time in New Orleans, and you got the Rams going up against the Packers in Green Bay.
Yep.
So we are getting we got 2 games left until we get to the Super Bowl. So that's going to be fun. But we'll be back at you at the end of the week with an episode of our predictions as to who we think is going to win the divisional matchups this week. But as of right now, we're tied in the playoffs. So there's no advantage to really be had either way there. We'll see what happens
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah.
All right.
It's gonna be a fun rest of the playoffs, especially when we had the Cleveland Browns in it and the Buffalo Bills in it for that matter.
It'd be definitely interesting. Well, like I said, that's all we got for this week. So have a good week, guys. Peace.